Hello everyone. So my name is Yongqiang Lin. So welcome to our 5间中文 Lunch and Learn. Today I'm here with my colleague Chen Xi. Wen Chenxi. She's from East China Normal University and doing her internship at China Institute now. So and also we will continue to do our Chinese food culture topic. So with further ado, so for the first part of this session will be the Chen Xi. She will give us an introduction about the Chinese radical and will teach you some Chinese vocabulary and Chinese phrases about related to the Chinese food and food cultures. So and then we will have our 朴老师. Okay, 陈曦.
Hello everyone, I'm Chen Xi, and today I'm gonna to share with you the Chinese radical 口, a character that has been an essential part of Chinese language and culture for thousands of years. We'll look at its evolution, the common characters related to eating and drinking, and some cultural expressions used to and some cultural expressions tied to this radical. Okay, let's begin with how 口 has evolved over time. In Xiu script, the Kou radical looked like a square symbolizing an open mouth. And in clerical script, the character became slightly and more structured, but still kept its boxy shape, representing the mouth. And in modern regular script, the Kou looks just like we use it today, representing the mouth and linking to many words related to eating and drinking. Then let's look at some common characters that use this radical, and you can read after me. 吃 yes 很好 喝 咬 品 喂 很好非常好 Each of these words contains the kou radical emphasizing the importance of the mouth in eating and tasting. The kou radical is also deeply embedded in Chinese culture, as we can see in some common cultural expressions. The first one is 口福. You can read after me. 口福. It used to describe the good fortune of having access to delicious food. In Chinese culture, food is seen as a source of happiness and well-being, and a 口福 reflects the joy and contentment that comes from enjoying good meals. It's often used to describe someone who is fortunate to have great food or good appetite. And here is an example. You can read after me. 你真有口福。非常好. It means you're so lucky to enjoy such a good food. And the second one, 吃香的喝辣的. You can read that for me. 吃香的喝辣的. 非常好. This expression literally means eating fragrant food and drinking spicy things, but figuratively, it refers to living a life full of enjoyment and pleasure. It's often used to describe someone who's living well, indulging in good food, and experiencing the best of life. In a broader sense, it can refer to someone who is successful and is enjoying the rewards of their hard work. During holidays or special occasions, this phrase is often used to describe the abundance of food and joy. It paints a picture of festive time when there is plenty of tasty, spicy food, and people are gathered together to celebrate. Okay, here is an example. 逢年过节，大家吃香的，喝辣的，喜气洋洋. You can read after me. 逢年
年
过
过
节，
节，大家吃香的喝辣的，喜气洋洋，
喝辣的，
喝辣的，
喜气洋洋。
喜气洋洋。
非常好，OK，that's all for today. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Chen Xi. So yeah, I wish everyone have a good, to eat a lot of food and have a healthy. It's just like have a good healthy. So it's just like it's almost in May. The New York City is still like in the winter. It's really cold. So just wish everyone to stay healthy and enjoy the beautiful lights coming in the spring or in the summer. Okay. So and also I want to remind everyone that our Lunch and Learn will be recorded and will be put on the upload to the China Institute YouTube channel. So you will have the chance to review it after each session. So during the next part, so we will have Piao Laoshi, so to share her expertise about Chinese food culture. So this time we're going to travel to Southwest China to explore and learn the Nuosu people. So their life there and the lifestyle there and their food culture. So, and also I would like to remind everyone, so you are feel free to post your question in the chat box and Piao Laoshi will answer them later. So now let's welcome Piao Laoshi.
Thank you, Lin Laoshi, and thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for your understanding last week. I'm sorry the talk has to postpone. I was very sick, but I'm glad I could be here this week, and I hope everyone stay healthy. Yeah, the weather is crazy, and let's get started. And I will share my slides. Is it available to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, good. Today, I'm going to introduce food in Xichang, a city in southwest China. And on the cover slide, there is a picture of the meal that you never fail to miss if you visit Xichang, and it's in the Nuosu style. And I wonder if you could have a guess what kind of dishes they are. Be free to raise your hand and if you have any good guess.
Tofu?
Very good. Yeah, there's tofu on the right here, right? What about this one? This one should be very easy, right?
Potato.
Yeah, it's potato. Very good. It's steamed.
Steamed.
Yeah, it's tudou, this potato. Hi, Tommy. Do you have questions? I saw your hand.
Yeah, I think it's chaobing, like a buckwheat cake.
Yeah, it is. In the front, it is buckwheat cake that is also steamed. It's called a qiaomaibing, as you said. Like it's made of the kuqiao, the buckwheat, which is grown in the highlands in southwest China. How about the other dishes on this dining table? How about this one? These three dishes. Do they look like vegetable or meat?
They're a meat.
Yeah, yes, they are meat, right? They are kind of like a boiled style meat, right?
Boiled, okay.
Yeah, it's boiled meat. And how about this one?
Soup. Tang.
Yeah, it's a kind of soup.
Soup.
Yeah, so it's a kind of soup is actually made of the chicken, but it's not very easy to see here, but very good. It's soup, it's boiled meat, it's buckwheat cake, and it also has the tofu, right? And they are being put in a very beautiful yellow, red, black, three-color lacquer, and and you might be notice like none of these are stir fries or rice bowls that we usually think came to our mind. Those dishes came to our mind when we think of Chinese food. So today, I'm going to introduce this different set of the like food in the Nuosu meals. And food in Xichang, I think is a very good example of explaining this kind of soup, boiled stews, that is very different from the stereotypes of Chinese food that usually we think of as stir fries and rice. So first of all, I would like to introduce Xichang, where Xichang is, and why Xichang is interesting for us to think about and talk about today. And you can see the Xichang is at the southern Sichuan province at southwest China, and this is in the southern part of the Sichuan province between the Chengdu and the Kunming. Which are two very important metropolitan cities in southwest China. And Xichang is also right on a very important railway that connects these two big cities, the Chengkun Tielu, the railway from Chengdu to Kunming. And as you can see from the map, geographically, Xichang is part of the Southeast Asia Massif. That is abundant of high mountains and uplands above the 1,000 feet. So this Xichang is the capital city of Liangshan Prefecture in Sichuan province. And Liangshan if you translate it literally, the place name means cool mountains. And Liangshan Prefecture has two cities and 17 in total 17 counties in Liangshan Prefecture, and Xichang is the capital of this place. And historically, Xichang and Liangshan more generally also part of the T-horse trade route that connects the lowlands and highlands as far as to the South and Southeast Asia from east of the Himalayas. So by usually on the horseback and also by the mule caravans, people trekked on the narrow trails of the rugged high mountains, transporting the tea and other everyday consumptions like salt, as well as the silk from lowlands to the highlands. And in exchange, Tibetan ponies, the horses will be brought back to the lowland China for the purpose of the wool and the farming use. So before that is the history and the geography of this region of Xichang, and about the population here. Before the massive Han settlement happened in this region, especially during the Qing dynasty, Nuosu people were the major population in Liangshan. And after the 1950s, the Nuosu people were categorized as the Yi people, Yi ethnicity, even though Yi people in Yunnan and the neighboring provinces, Yunnan and Guizhou, speak kind of different dialects from the Nuosu people in Liangshan, in Sichuan, and they have some different traditions as well. However, they share very similar ritual scripts, and also including the the guidebooks to guide the dead people's spirits back to their ancestral land in their ritual performances. Furthermore, some historians also believe Yi people are the Yelang in history, the Yelang polity during the Han Dynasty period. So 夜郎自大, you probably learned about this idiom, like 成语 before. And that 夜郎, that place is actually very related, historical related Nuosu people and this region of the Southwest. So while the Han people settled in the lowlands and farming and fishing near the rivers and the waterways, the Nuosu people actually were used to living in the high mountains, intentionally away from the river and the lowland state regimes. Its interaction with the state is more frequent after 1950s, after the communist regimes taking power. And today's Nuosu people's population in Liangshan is around 3 million. It constitutes half of the population of the whole Liangshan area. So they have their own, Nuosu people have their own mythology and epic poems. And as you can see on this map, I put a bowl, lacquerware here. It is a very traditional Nuosu style of lacquer. And you can see there is actually the bull's eye, like patterns on the lacquer, and also this is sheep horn, which are all very important animals in their both everyday and the ritual life. And eagle is also very important animal totem. And the eagle's feet shape also, they make their drinking cups lacquer in that shape, in the shape of the eagle's feet as well. So this bowl is actually this image I actually took from the exhibition in Seattle, in the museum in Seattle. I think it's Burke Museum. Like they had actually an exhibition of the Nuosu lacquer and then their clothing and their objects many years ago. And I think there is actually a booklet about that exhibition available in some libraries if you are interested. And so the meat dish we saw at the beginning is actually called 坨坨肉. And 坨坨肉 is means like the big chunks of the, it's a very big cut, a very big piece of meat, and it's boiled, and then you just use very simple like salt and then others sometimes also some spices to mix with the meat. And it's a very simple way of cooking the meat, but the flavor and then the texture of the meat is very special. It's very it's hard to a little bit hard to chew, but it's actually very the meat texture is very chewy, so that is actually they really prefer this way of the meat. And since they cook this kind of meat fresh immediately after they kill the animal, so the meat is very fresh, and then it has a flavor, a fresh flavor, and then the meat flavor that is very different to what we got from the grocery store. And the meat soup is also always available together with this dish. And it is a very different way of the meat cutting and also sharing the meat. And then 坨坨肉 is very important in many social settings of Nuosu, in the Nuosu society. And the meat is cut into big chunks because they think also people believe you should not eat too much at the other people's place when people hosting, but the hosts want to be very show their hospitality, and they want people to eat more. So that's why they actually cut meat into big pieces in case people don't get too many pieces. So this is very interesting way of actually balancing the hospitality and then the guest manner. And this is a picture that I took in the 2019 when I was doing my field work in Liangshan, and I was working as a school teacher at a village school in one of the Nuosu village, and then I'm a group of this teacher actually visiting another school for touring the school and learning the lessons. So an exchange experience, so that the school actually hosting us with cooking this totoro meal for us. And the one we just saw, oh, Karen, do you have a question? I saw your hands raised.
No, I'm fine.
No, this is the other Karen.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I had a question about totoro. You said that in order to, be generous as a host and also to allow people to be polite and not overeat, you said you cut the pieces in big pieces. So are the guests not only supposed to take one piece because it's big? Is that how you work it out? I didn't quite get how that works out.
Yeah, usually people take like a couple, but not more than 3 or 4, I think. And but people also, like the host will be happy to see you have more, but for the guests, I think they feel very shy and feel bad if they have more than that. So for me, actually, as an outsider, the first time I eat totoro is actually very challenging for me, even though it tastes great. First, the challenge is the fat part, and then the non-fat part of the meat. Like it's not very like common for me. Like because I didn't get used to the fat part took part of like more than half of the meat, and then also it's a little bit hard to chew, but the texture is actually amazing if you get used to it. And it's also very big, and it took me a while. Even before I leave the table, I couldn't finish the one, and then they keep giving me one. So it actually a very interesting experience for me when I the first time I joined this kind of meal. So.
And did you eat with your hands? I see the person in the picture.
Yeah,
they have the meat, so you just hold it and.
Yeah, you usually eat with hands, and you can see from the picture like most people don't use chopsticks. They have spoon, like it's called ichi in their language, and the soup is for whatever. The spoon is actually for whatever. This kind of is a long latch, and then spoon is for everything, for soup, for getting if you eat other dishes, if it's available there, you're all using this each for this kind of spoon for getting the food to the mouth. But for the meat, you are right, they are just using hands and then work on it.
Thank you.
No problem. And as you see, this is pork in the first picture, and next the totoro, it could be in other kinds of meat. It's a cut of meat, right? A way of cutting meat. And so there's a beef totoro usually available at Nuosu funeral and their ancestor worship ceremony that involve a lot of people, like hundreds of people. And this is a beef totoro, and it could be also chicken, right? But chicken, usually the piece is bigger than we usually see in our everyday life, but for it's still a little bit bigger than it's not as big as the one like beef and then and the pork one. And then chicken is also always also usually just put into the water into the soup and make as a 酸菜鸡汤, like the sour cabbage, like chicken soup. And the lamb and goat meat is also cut into this kind of big pieces, since they use different animals for different kind of rituals and ceremonies. And this is at a funeral in another place, like I went to observe, like the daughter of the family contributed a cow to the funeral. So this is a kind of the cultural practice that the woman, the daughter of the family, even though they married out of family, which in theory they don't belong to her home family anymore, but she's still contribute to the animal sacrifice for the funeral. And then, as you can see, there actually like this little boy's hold is actually RMB, like the China currency. I'm not sure if this one is real. It doesn't look very real to me, but actually they did like holding the real currency, real cash, and then a lot of them, and then even stick to them to a very long rod in order to show like their contribution to the funeral of the family. And as I just briefly mentioned in the beginning of the talk, like Liangshan has 2 cities and 15 counties, and Xichang is here, and then all the surrounding counties you can see from the map. And like Muli is actually Tibetan, like a lot of Tibetan communities there, and then Nuosu communities focus on the east part. Like even among the Nuosu people, they have different dialects. For example, the Yuexi and Xide people, they call themselves as the Shengjia, and then Zhaojue and the Meigu people call themselves as the Inno. And then Butuo and then Puge people call themselves as the Sodi. And so these are actually, these few counties actually is the core of their heartland of the Nuosu people of Liangshan. With that in mind, I want to say even though the Totoro is very big, right? But in these different regions, actually they themselves also think their ways of the cutting meat is different. They were saying like, oh, actually our place, like our Sodi place, actually cutting the meat in the bigger pieces. The way you cut here is too Hanized, like too Han influenced, because it's much smaller. So being a Nuosu, like Totoro is very essential of Nuosu practices and Nuosu culture, and it's very symbolic of their identity. Also, it maintains their sociality and the kinship network, their social relations, and it also very symbolic of their hosting and hosting cultures, and being generous. And this is at a funeral, and this is at another funeral, and then at the same funeral, but after the first meal, like the funeral family served the pork Totoro, and the daughter actually hosted another meal and serving the beef Totoro. And you can see the daughter actually hosting a lot of money in the hand. Actually, that is all these old elders men paid her, saying like, oh, you hosted so well, so this is our thank you to you. So that's what the money and the meat in this scene. And all this meat and the money at the funeral and in other social settings of the Nuosu society, it shows a lot of their flows, their flows of money and the meat actually constitute their social life a lot. And then when I was doing field work there, I almost feel like people have to go to the funeral or different ceremonies every day. It's not like it is like once in a while stuff. Instead, it's very frequent. And family reunion is also very popular these years. And as as more and more people move down from the highlands and being relocated by the government project, housing project to the towns, and then on the outskirts of towns, they started to organize their family reunion at a hotel. So as you can see in the front of this picture, like Totoro, even though the food is served by hotel, but Totoro is still very important part. Even though there's like a steamed fish, like a hotel prepared, but the Totoro has to be added to the menu. So it's still it's very essential to all the like Nuosu family like social events. And since the 1980s, like barbecue of this Totoro is getting more popular as more and more people move to the towns, and then also Xichang, the biggest city of the Liangshan, and then urban nightlife is very popular, and this kind of barbecue of the Totoro becomes a very popular way of young people, and then when family reunion happens, people gather together and hang out in the night. And you can also put a net, like a steel the metal net on the top of the fire, and then cook on top. And then other than meat, you can also barbecue the potato, squash. Potato is most popular, and nowadays more and more vegetable like leek is also available, but also some fish, since Xichang is very close. Xichang is close to Qionghai. Qionghai is a lake inside of Xichang city, and it's a very tourist place, and then a lot of seafood is very popular in Xichang as well. And I want to trace back about a little bit to talk about like why Totoro is so ritually important and culturally important for the Nuosu people. And it's I think one very good example is the their New Year, Nuosu New Year, which usually happens in the November, but it is actually according the 10th month of their Nuosu calendar, which is very different to the calendar that we usually use today. And this is from after this slide is going to be having the images of the animal sacrifice and slaughter. So if you would like to turn away from the screen, away from images, be free to do so. So on the morning of the first day of Nuosu Year usually lasts 3 days. And on the first day, people need to go to the high mountains to collect all these different kind of the plants, including the pine, and then branches of other like plants, as well as prepare a very hot stone with the and the water, so that before the New Year pig is being killed, like you need to use the water to pour over the hot stone so that the smoke can come out. And that smoke is actually signifies their inviting their ancestor to join them for the New Year's celebration. And this is the bed. This is bed to use to strike on the pig's head as the first strike to make the pigs down. And when they first came in, the host family, usually whose family's pig is going to be killed, the owner needs to actually bring out a box of the beers to entertain all these guys who are joining this effort. And then after the bed is being hit on the up front on the pig's head, forehead, and the pig will go down, and then the throat will be cut open, and then the woman of the family will use the bowl to contain all the blood coming out. to use for the sausage and other food in later. So as you can see, all of them are men, and there is a gender boundary. As I noticed, like in many places, men are usually kill the pig and cut the meat and then boil the meat and share them, bring the meat to the table to the guest. And then also during the this killing, the host, when it comes to the host family, the host will not join, even though they will join the other, go to the other household to help to kill the New Year pig. But when they come to their own house, they will not join the other guys to kill their own pig, to kill his own pig. So even though the man does the most of work of the pig killing, but actually it's for the New Year, it's a lot of work for women as well. And then I want to show this gender boundary in this picture. It is actually a social event of a family after moving to a new house, like they are hosting their family members, their clan members, because Nuosu people are connected with each other through kinship, and they usually trace back themselves. They need to memorize all their 14 generations of the clan member names, so that a kid is, since 4 years old, need to start to memorize those names and to position themselves in this household, in this family clan. So you can see like women on the left actually take care of the buckwheat, steamed buckwheat cake, and the men in the right actually usually took care of the meat. And going back to the New Year's pig, Nuosu New Year pig, they different from like in most parts of China, you usually actually using the hot water to get off the fur of the pig. You usually Nuosu people use fire to burn out the fur on the skin, and also they have to use this kind of fur that they collect from high mountains to burn the skin of the pig. So it is a very Nuosu way of doing it, because this kind of fur, they cannot use other things other than this fur. And usually after burn the skin, the pig, and then you use the knives to scrape off the black suit, and then the pig's body is become golden yellow, and it is actually quite pretty color. And as more and more people leaving the highland villages and then starting living the apartment in the township, it's very difficult for them to get a New Year pig that is running around in the mountains rather than being penned, being caged. But they still have to, since New Year pig is so important for them. So there is a saying they're saying like, no matter how poor you are, you have to have a New Year pig for the New Year. So people actually organize the market in the open field that is actually going to be developed for relocation. And they actually, you can see like they use the horse cart to carry a pig to take home. And if you get a smaller pig, actually you just actually take it home by like walking the dog. It's actually walking the pig in the on the streets of the country, which is very interesting scene I see there. And on the first day, before the sunset, you also bring the meat. Usually the first piece of the leg on the left hind leg that you need to bring, and some buckwheat cakes you bring to the village commune to put them all together, collect them all together, and reshare them together, as you can see in the next pictures here. Like the whole different households of the village will come together, put their meat together, put their buck meat together, and then the person who is in charge of cutting meat will chop them into the smaller pieces, and then redistributed them back to each person of the village. And then other than the pork in the stomach. There's sausage. You also need to make sausage in the new year, and then you smoke them by hanging them over the fire pit in the house, as well as other piece of meat you want to cure them for later use. And all this meat, like people usually eat it for almost half a year, and until the Nuosu New Year is November, and then there are very two important Nuosu festival. One is Nuosu New Year, the other one is the Torch Festival in the summer around June and July. And so in June and July, there is another actually a peak, even though it's not New Year's peak, but that peak is going to be killed among the neighborhood, among the neighbors in the village, and then they share the meat together as well. And then tofu is also very important New Year food. So you usually make the tofu before the New Year, the first day of the New Year, and then you use this kind of the device to make the tofu. It's a lot of energy and time consuming, but it is a very important symbol for the grandma and then women member of the household to show their willingness to create abundance and prosperity for their life and a brand new year. And after grinding it, you need to boil it, and then using several rounds of to use this kind of bags they choose to use to filter it and then keep boiling them. And then actually at some point you can even drink the soy milk. And for the Nimutobi is their ancestor worship ceremony, and in this ceremony they will send the past people's spiritual spirits back to their ancestral land by the ritualist called Bimo. And this is actually bamboo with the sheep fur, and then using the hemp strings, and then with the grains that from the highland. And then in this ceremony, it actually requires more than 100 different items from their old lifestyle when they're highlands, like a kind of the sweet rice, as well as this kind of buckwheat. And then the specific animal that should have the perfect shape without any harms and injuries of their body to use for this kind of ceremonies. And then also a lot of animal will be sacrificed. But from now on, there will be no animal images anymore. So if you would like to come back to the slides. And in their exorcism ceremony, also you can see they need to prepare and carving and crafting a lot of the figurette and put it on top of the potato that they cut open, and also a lot of goat, pig, and chicken usually used for this ceremony. And Bimo, the ritualist of the Nuosu society, is in charge of making all these ritual devices, and also guiding the people's food preparation. For example, they usually need to serve the food like first to the Bimo, and after Bimo ate, and the family could start to eat the rest of the meat. But the Bimo's meat usually is being roasted in the fire pit over which that ritual performance usually practice. But for the family member, they usually eat the boiled meat with a soup rather than the roasted in the fire. And also the chicken soup that is in the beginning of the cover slice, the vegetable is actually made with these leaves of this radish. They call it wangen, and then this leafy part is going to be dried, and then they made it into the sour cabbage. And the potato is also very important food in their when they are socializing with each other. And when I was doing field work, and then the family usually always offer the potatoes with some dipping sauce for us to eat. And in cities, especially in Xichang and in different towns, county towns, this kind of fried potato shop is also very like popular. It's just like a kind of like cafes, like in the US, but they actually go here fried potato shops to hang out. And so to sum up, Nuosu meals is very symbolic of the Nuosu people's hospitality and how they maintain their social relations with a lot of mutual significance. But also this kind of presentation of the Nuosu food is actually a result of a consequence of the rapid urbanization of rural ethnic China. And you can see this food is now offered in a restaurant for the tourists, but as more and more Nuosu people relocated to the lowlands, to the towns, to the apartments, they have deep concerns with the food security. That's why in their ritual performances, they actually still trying to curate what they used to have, what their ancestors when they were young, when they were kids, was used to have. But nowadays, since no people are growing those things anymore, no people living in high mountains anymore, so they actually still using this in the process of preparing for ritual performance, are trying to collect all these grains, plants, and animals for to present and to participate in their ritual performance. And here is a couple of photos of the roof veg gardens, like people cultivated in the towns on top of on the roof of their apartment buildings, and some people even raised pigs in some deserted buildings that are out of use but waiting, which probably will be demolished soon. But they actually use those vacant space right now to raise pigs and then carry their leftover food to feed the pigs in the buildings, in the yards of the buildings that is not using right now. But we don't know how long it can be like that. They can still have their pigs even in the cities. So Southwest China is very ethnically divided. It's the most ethnically divided region of China. And we can see very different ways of eating and cooking that is very different from the stereotypes of the Chinese food. And this is in Yunnan, where it is called Jinping, which is a county of the Miao, Yao, and Dai peoples. But also there, in my field work, I also met Yi people there, and you can see this meal is actually inclusive, very different ethnic tradition and regional flavor. There's a very Thai style, like roasted barbecued fish, and there is this kind of colorful steamed rice, and there's this kind of cold dishes, and then the veggies. So I just want to show the variety, but the potato and the tofu, this kind of roasted tofu, is very popular in many places in Southwest China, in Yunnan, in Sichuan, in Guizhou. So I also want to offer a glimpse of the a Han meal that in Liangshan, like on the way to the Xichang from another Liangshan county. Like you can see, this is from a Chinese Han like restaurant, and it's also a lot of stews, like cured meat, baked, and then tofu dishes and cold dishes. But the meat cutting is completely different, and the cooking style and the presentation is also very different. So there are many snack food in Xichang as well, like a rice noodle soup called different kind of fen, like mi fen, liang fen, juan fen. Like mi fen rice noodle soup is very popular, like breakfast in different township. And then cold jelly with vinegar sauce is also very nice. This is liang fen, the one in the picture on the right. And this is very popular, like summer, like a snack, afternoon food. And rolled jelly pancake, you can see in the next picture, that you put the sauce and peanut, and sometimes also jurgen is a very popular kind of the root that is, some people are not getting used to, but it's a popular kind of the ingredients in Southwest. And in the end, that's all for today. Any questions and comments? I know we don't have much time left, but if you have questions, please let me know. On the right is a picture from the social media during the Nuosu New Year. You can see actually they put the BMW logos on the peak. And then I think this is a kind of aspiration, but also how they want their better life, like to have the put the BMW's value to their wishes for the good life. Yeah, that's for all.
Okay, thank you, Piao 老师. So for the introduction of the Southeast China food, especially the Nuosu people's life and food culture there. So we do have not a lot of questions, but we do have some questions in the chat box. So I see Chimeng, so has the experience traveling to the Xichang, and he recommended the 豆花饭 for breakfast to everyone.
Nice. That's delicious.
Yeah. And also we have the Stephania, so sees when you shows the very colorful food from the Yi and the Yunnan province. So she asked, are those food all local sourced?
Yeah, I believe so. Like I think I see some shrimp there on the picture, so I not sure about that shrimp, but all other like veg, especially those veggies cold dishes, I believe is from local areas. And there any other questions? Can we see the slide of difference? Oh.
Yeah, Chimeng just posted the link on the chat box.
Yeah, so Stephanie, when you're talking about the food or the food from the local area, do you mean the which food do you which picture are you trying?
Yeah, I'm just curious, just in general, like do the people have access to trade with other areas, like to get things that are produced elsewhere, or do they mainly just use what they have in the village?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question. That's a very good question. Actually, in today's world, I think it's difficult to not to get to not to use the ingredients or stuff from other from outside, since grocery stores, especially those chain grocery stores, are getting more and more present in their life. So they definitely would use a lot of grains and also vegetable from the grocery stores. But for a lot of their ritual ceremonies and social events that they organize for their family clans, so they actually really carefully select the animal that going to be used for the food. And also for certain parts, for certain like the grains, they have to use it like the ritualist, the bimo designated, and those bimo will actually offer them the guidance how to find them. And also it's also very important, they need to rely on their contacts and then other family clan members and friends in order to look for those. Stephanie? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you very
everyone.
much. Yeah, thank you very much for everyone. Any more questions? No? Okay, just one more comment from me. So thank you, Piao 老师, for sharing our, the traditional or the life in the Nuosu people. It's just like, I think it's a typical, very traditional Chinese people's life. So which we don't have a lot of left, which we don't have a lot of left in today's life. So it's reminded me that my parents, they used to make tofu, before the new year, every year. So we have our own soybeans and all the tools. They make the tofu for our family, and then I still can remember, the very fresh, the fresh, the strong smell, the taste of the soybeans juice and the tofu. So and after the before the new year, 1 or 2 days before the new year, so my parents will send me to take the tofu to my relatives, to my grandparents, them to, here's some food you can prepare for the new year. So I think that's, it's very important for us. Our lives is our life are filled with all those rituals and the ceremonies. It contains the meanings of respect to our ancestor and also shows the connection between the human and the human and the natures. So yeah. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of left. So for me, I don't have a skill to make tofu. I don't know idea how to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Piao 老师.
Yes, thank you so much for your input. And which reminds me, actually, it's Nuosu people's ritual, their food, the dining table is also expanded after this urbanization. I remember the zongzi, the festival food for the April. It is actually it's getting very popular among the Nuosu community. I remember many people are making zongzi in the night in the Nuosu village. So it is a very interesting mutual influence as well.
Okay, thank you everyone. So just a reminder, so next Monday, so next time will be our the last session of this season. So the date is May 2nd. So don't forget to register and come to have the talk with us. So and I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.